We cover everything from program cattle to the beef checkoff to exports to cattle sales. We've got it all. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart. A big thank you goes out to our partners, ranchchannel.com, Jorgensen Land and Cattle. Their sale report is available on ranchchannel.com, by the way. Clear Springs Cattle Company and the Mature Cow and Red Heifer Dispersal Sale. Their information as well is available at ranchchannel.com. Transova Genetics, Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multimin and Lactapro, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
Cattle Battle.
It is a really busy time of the year. A fair amount of scrambling, I think, is going on to try to get everything finished up for the season. Weaning calves, marketing calves, gathering data, ultrasounding, preg checking, chopping corn. The list goes on and on. I just caused myself to panic here, I think, a little bit. Now, I'm coming back to this, to the program cattle. We'll get to that in just a minute. And we've talked so much about program cattle over the past few years, especially over the past few episodes. Last week, we had Mike Bolinger with Superior Livestock on the program talking about selling feeder heifers versus keeping heifers. We talked about cow herd retention and beef imports. In case you missed that episode, you can listen to it in full by heading to ranchitupshow.com. Now, Mike, thanks for coming back on the program. We have had a few questions coming in from our listeners across the country that want to hear from you, want to hear your thoughts about market outlook, program cattle, etc.
I do a lot of program cattle, and one of the big buyers, we were talking this summer, and he said, just like we talked before, you're not going to see the big spread in the program cattle that we traditionally see, just to keep pens full. But he said, tell your customers, do not give it up because it's going to come back with a vengeance. So I would say if you're doing the programs, don't give up on them. Just stay with them because they really do pay.
And I think that the program cattle in the future, that's just going to kind of be a requirement. It won't even they won't be a premium. I think that's going to set the norm, and that's actually going to kind of set the benchmark. Exactly.
And what we're doing there, that housewife that we keep talking about, that's who we're making happy. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, the implanted beef, you know, is just for gains and stuff like that. But if you set two steaks down, they couldn't tell the difference. But we got to market to those housewives in those big cities. That's the main deal that we're doing the program cattle for.
Now, Mike, I'm going to kind of be all over the boards on this one, answering some different questions. Let's jump into the beef checkoff. Oh, boy, howdy, are we going to put a burr under everybody's saddle with this one on one side and on the other side? Give me your opinion on this, because you had talked about marketing to the consumer, okay? Give me your opinion on the beef checkoff, good, bad, and indifferent. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, let's put it this way. If I was in there, I'd be running it different. I'd be spending my money more on advertising and going that route, getting it out to the consumer, and not so much the rural consumer. We all know what we need to do is get it into the big cities, you know, to the housewife, and let her know what's actually going on in the beef market, how good the beef is for them. Actually concentrate more on the big city populations is what I'm on the advertising part of it. But there's a lot of ways that way could be spent better than what it's, to my opinion, than what it's getting spent on now.
And we're not getting into a debate about the beef checkoff for or against or anything like that. Yes, I think we need to have the advertising, but I agree with you wholeheartedly, Mike, that I think so many times, especially, excuse me, when it comes to social media, we are simply talking to each other. We're talking to the like groups. We're all sitting around the same fire, right? We've all got the same problems and the same issues. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that there needs to be a lot more focus on the generations that are removed from the farm and ranch. I think that there needs to be a lot more focus in young people's, like their health and nutritional classes, for example, when they start going through that I think I had mine in junior high or something. But when those young people are starting to get exposed to health and nutrition, that we really need to push in that avenue so those young people are growing up and their understanding of why beef needs to be a mainstay in their diet. And again, we're just sharing opinions, and it's really easy for us to do that because, we're not the ones in charge or anything like that. But that's just kind of my little take on the beef checkoff. Same with kind of yours, Mike.
I like the way you're thinking, young man. You're exactly right.
Well, by golly, I think we got this deal about all figured out by now, don't we?
I wished.
Now, Mike, I know you're busy. You pulled the truck over again to visit with us. We appreciate that. One last question in regards to plant-based meat alternatives. I've been sharing a lot of different market reports and what those stock prices have been doing, nutritional values, things like that. Your thoughts on the Beyond Meat of where we're at right now with the consumer and how maybe we as an industry need to keep fighting the good fight, if you will.
I don't see it taking off. And what we need to do with our dollar beef checkoff, get it out there, get what's really in that meat. I think that'll keep the consumers, I think that'll keep them from going to the Beyond Meat. There's actually other companies or other countries that have actually banned it. So I think the United States needs to get on board. But as far as that beef checkoff dollar, that's the kind of money we need to spend to fight against that kind of technology that's trying to go on.
Mike Bolinger with Superior Livestock. Hey, Mike, thanks for coming back on the program. And I think this is exactly what we need to have a lot more of is dialogue, sharing what our concerns are for those of us that live at the end of dirt roads, sharing ideas, throwing things out, seeing what works, visiting with other individuals, sharing if we don't like a program. If we do like a program, I just think there needs to be more of this open dialogue, and people need to start stepping up and saying what we do and what we don't like. So, Mike, thanks again for coming back on the show. Appreciate you. Remember, crew, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants, it doesn't matter. You can give us a call or you can text 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. You can fire us an email, ranchitupshow@gmail.com, and prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. A sale recap for y'all. The fall premiere from Northern Livestock Video Auction from Northern in Billings, Montana. And by the way, I've got the link for the whole report, and it is a big one if you want to go through and look for individual weight classes. But I've got the whole report available for y'all in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com. I've made it real easy where you can go there, you can find it, click on it, and review it. But here is a little bit of a recap for y'all. Camas Creek Cattle and Sheep Company brought a whole pile to Billings, Montana, a whole pile. 400 head of weaned steers weighing 430. Now, that's all the information. I don't know if they're programmed cattle. I don't know how they're bred. All what I have is 400 head weaned steers weighing 430. You ready for this, y'all? They brought $4.50. $4.50. Holy smokes. All right, here's 400 head of weaned steers weighing 550 pounds, bringing $330.50 from Camas Creek Cattle and Sheep Company. Now, the weaned heifers that they brought to town, 240 head of those. They weighed 400 pounds, came in right at $353. 4-weight heifers, $353. These are delivery towards the end of November, right towards the beginning of December, by the way. Then another one to share with you on the other side. Veldkamp Livestock brought in a whole pile of open heifers weighing 8, 8.5, 860, 875, all bringing $223. 8 weights on up, $223. And yes, this entire recap is available in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com. Now, those of you that have reached out to me about some of our swag, the website is ranchitup.us. In fact, when you're on Ranch Channel, you can find the direct link to that. Those of you that are looking for some of those handmade Christmas items, I know I'm talking about it already, but many people have reached out to me about my handmade hybrid Florida cow whips. Get those orders in now if you're looking to have me make something for those Christmas gift ideas. I do have some available in stock. If you would like to know colors, lengths, and prices, just reach out to me, and I'll send you pictures and get back to you right away. All right, y'all, it is time for a quick commercial break. Now, when we come back, we dive into the news. I've got a lot to go through with y'all, from imports and exports to virtual tours, you name it. The Ranch It Up Radio Show will be back.
RanchChannel.com. I'll give you just a few seconds to head there on your phone. RanchChannel.com, your farm and ranch network on demand. Bull sales, western events, product information, right at your fingertips on the ultimate cowboy-friendly platform. Want to follow up-to-date markets? RanchChannel.com. No need to dig for information on all these different websites. It's all right there on RanchChannel.com. Y'all are loving it now, aren't you? There's still lots of time to market those calves. Add Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners to the list of marketing options. With over 30,000 feeder cattle marketing annually, the Allied Genetic team works to help commercial producers capture top dollars. Contact any of the Allied team by heading to AlliedGeneticResources.com.
Attention cattle producers. Boost your herd's trace mineral status with Axiota Animal Health's Multi-Min 90. This injectable solution delivers essential trace minerals known to support cattle health and reproduction. Don't settle for less when it comes to your herd health. Trust Axiota Animal Health to keep your cattle in prime condition. Visit your local supplier or veterinarian to learn more about Multi-Min 90. Multi-Min 90, because healthy cattle mean a healthy bottom line.
If your herd is suffering from scours and has had scours, see immediate results with Pharmatan from Imogene Ingredients. Get your herd on a Pharmatan feeding plan now to prevent scours for next calving season. Get your herd back in shape, more breedbacks, healthier calves, and eliminate scours with Pharmatan. Check out PharmatanUSA.com and on Facebook.
Cow country news, you know, the cow stuff. Here's what's happening in the news this week. Exports are heavily dependent on the eastern ports threatened by an October 1st strike deadline, but the ramifications of a halt in shipments would be serious for beef and pork industries as well. That, according to the U.S. Meat Export Federation, that they warned late last week. U.S. MEF President and CEO Dan Holstrom said the big three West Coast ports are the leading outlets for U.S. beef and pork exports. That doesn't mean the East and Gulf Coast isn't important. He said if we look at total waterborne exports of pork, about 45% of those go through the East and Gulf Coast ports, and in the beef side, about 30% of the waterborne exports. He pointed in particular to quite a high percentage of very high-value chilled beef that goes out from the East Coast, in particular for destinations like Europe and the Middle East. He said we can't overstate the importance of the East Coast and Gulf Coast ports. Even though the West Coast is larger, still a very significant quantity is exported through the East and Gulf Coasts. Holstrom said any halt in pork activity will, quote, back up the supply chain immediately, and redirecting meat exports to the West Coast is by no means a long-term solution at all, because a vast flow of grain and non-farm commodities and goods would also be left without port capacity. He said we're challenged to export all of our products today using all the ports, so we can't afford a shutdown in any part of the supply chain. Originally posted in Alt Meat and then again in meatingplace.com, consuming a plant-based diet that is nutritionally equivalent to one that includes animal proteins is considerably 34 to 45% more expensive than an omnivorous diet, putting numbers to one complaint that's been voiced about plant-based diets for years. That, according to new research from New Zealand's Massey University. As published in the journal Frontiers in Nutrition, the article reviews recent modeling studies using linear programming to determine the respective roles of animal and plant source foods in developing a least cost diet in the United States and then again in New Zealand. The abstract said that in both economies, least cost diets were found to include animal-based foods such as milk, eggs, fish, seafood, and meat to meet the energy and nutrient requirements of healthy adults at the lowest retail cost. The article said the costliest culprits in transitioning from a animal and plant containing least cost diet to a plant-only based least cost diet are mostly vitamins and minerals. So in conclusion, modeling of least cost diets that consist exclusively of plant-based foods is feasible, but research showed at a higher daily diet cost, and these diets are often close to limiting several key nutrients. And now in other news, the Stockmanship and Stewardship Tour is coming to Hamburg, New York and surrounding states October 25th through the 26th at the Agriculture Discovery Center in Hamburg, New York. Participants will explore a range of important topics such as carcass quality, grazing management, consumer insights, and more, all designed to evaluate your operations and boost profitability. Highlights include beef on dairy, which is a hot topic right now, cattle handling demonstrations, a grazing workshop, a consumer insights workshop, and BQA transport information. Fresno, California is another stop on the Stockmanship and Stewardship Tour. The dates are October 18th and 19th. We have the agendas, where to register, and how to get involved with the virtual tour, which is November 7th, by the way, in the show notes at ranchitupshow.com. On to the breeding side of things, the Select Sires Fall Beef Sire Directory is now available online for viewing. Exciting new sires to the lineup in Angus, Simmental, and Red Angus, just to name a few. The link for the digital copy of the directory is online at ranchitupshow.com for your convenience, or you can head to selectsires.com as well. And finally, a great program allowing young people to start in the beef business. Listen to this one. The Foundation Female Program from Dakota Community Bank was established to award recipients with an interest-free loan to purchase 5 bred heifers and assist youth in establishing their own cattle herd. With this particular program, applications will be accepted from youth currently enrolled in 7th and 8th grade and at least 13 years of age by the application deadline and must reside within a 100-mile radius of any Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Now, this is just an example of some of the great programs that exist in rural America, helping the next generation get into the business. So check in your area, and there may be similar programs. And yes, I checked already, and I am way too old to apply. And yes, I did check to apply. And that is a look at what's happening in cow country for the news. Now, keep it tuned right here to this fine radio station. Coming up after the break, we are talking the markets. We're going to recap them with Kirk like we do each and every week. We've got cattle sales to tell you all about and a lot more here on the Ranch It Up Radio Show. Looking for the best way to raise healthy, productive beef? Try Westway Feed Products. Westway's liquid supplements boost forage utilization, efficiency, and sustainability, ensuring faster weight gain and better health. Visit westwayfeed.com or call 800-800-7517. Westway Feed Products, raising the bar in beef production. At Transova Genetics, it's simple. Their mission is to provide opportunity and advantage through genetic acceleration. Sounds great, but what does it mean? That means using the latest technology to get your cow herd where you want it and where you need it as quickly and efficient as possible. So, from now until September 30th, any donor cow collected via IVF will receive a $100 discount. Genetics you need and money back in your pocket. To schedule an appointment or consultation, head to transova.com.
Should I sell heifers or keep some as replacements? Consider upgrading your cow herd with material instinct and stayability, all while providing that extra shot of heterosis. Look no further than Gelbvieh and Balancer Genetics. Discover the cow power with Gelbvieh and Balancer. Gelbvieh and Balancer, smart, reliable, profitable. Gelbvieh.org.
Want to add just a little bit of spice to your event, your customer appreciation supper, your banquet, your meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Well, bring in us, Beck and I, as your keynote speakers, hosts, MCs, a host couple. We'll make them laugh, even cry tears of joy. Call us today. Have y'all tried livestockmarket.com yet? We have updates each and every week. Brought to us by auctiontime.com. We're all familiar with that one. Try livestockmarket.com. And don't forget, for all your equine needs, head to equinemarket.com. Welcome back to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. That time in the program, we check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated, recapping the markets from last week, kind of finding out what's going on, what's hot, what's not. Kirk, take it away, buddy.
Good morning, Tigger. We're all out here at the Allied meeting in Missouri. First time in Missouri, so that's pretty cool. Definitely a different country than Montana. As of Friday, right?
Welcome to Earth, buddy.
I know. Welcome to rain. Welcome to rain. As of Friday, September 20th, October feeder futures closed the week at 243.90. That's up 465 on the week, with the CME feeder index down 6 at 243.26. That swung the basis to a negative 161.5. So we went from a positive basis, the cash was over futures, to a negative basis. Now cash is under futures. We did have a cattle on feed report this week, with cattle on feed at 100.6% versus expectations of 100.8. Placements at 98.6 versus expectations of 98.9, and marketed 96.4 versus expectations of 96.6. So a very neutral cattle on feed report. October live cattle came in at 182.57.5. That's up $5 on the week, with cash trading 183 in the south and 183 to 184 in the north early, and then late Friday trades at 185. That left the 5-area weighted average up 206 at 182.78, and the basis versus October live futures narrowing to a positive 20.5 cents. October futures and cash are basically even. Weekly slaughter was 610,000 head. That's down 10,000 head from last week and 17,000 head lower than the same week last year. Choice boxes did close the week back above 3 after being under that at 300.91. That's down 472 on the week. To wrap this up, December corn closed the week at 401.5. That's up 12.25 on the week. Corn is facing some harvest pressure right now, but it does have chart structure that supports the argument for a bottom being in.
Hey all, Mark Van Zee with LivestockMarket.com. Coming up this Wednesday, October 2nd, we have a registered seed stock and commercial stocker calf auction. Bidding opens at just $100, no reserves, all lots will sell. Registered lots include Idaho Livestock of Hayden, Idaho. They've been raising hardy, productive registered Aberdeen cattle since 2010. Their fall production sale is being held on Livestock Market and AuctionTime.com, and it includes 9 open replacement heifers born in March of 2024, all registered, sired by DCS Justified and Duff Red Raider. 6 2024 born bulls born in March of this year, sired by UF Legend, MCR Kingpin, ILC Kingston, and Duff Red Raider. 5 breeding age bulls, complete EPDs and details on each lot. 2 registered cows, and 6 separate semen lots, 3 straws per lot, from Duff Believe in Me, Duff Red Rager, FT Sir Constantine, ILC Locomotive, ILC Maverick, and ILC Keystone. Commercial stocker calves include 81 Angus and Red Angus steers and heifers mixed, 533 pounds, 46 steers, 35 heifers. Genetics are J-Bar V, Lutz Hereford, Buttus Red Angus, Macumber, and Redland Angus from 4J Landon Cattle in Parkman, Wyoming. 22 Angus steers, 550 pounds, sired by High Point Genetic Bulls. They're a great set of feeder steers. They'll be weaned early October. They got their first round of shots, and they'll get another one right before the sale from Sailor Ranch in Hebron, North Dakota. 19 Angus heifers, 550 pounds. Breed 'em or feed 'em, sired by High Point Bulls. Great set of heifers that have potential all across the board. They'll be bang vaccinated from Sailor Ranch. And 10 Sin Angus heifers, 550 pounds, 3/4 Angus, 1/4 Simmental. They're a great set of heifers you can breed or feed from Sailor Ranch. Plus over 300 bales of hay. Bidding opens at just $1 a bale. Bidding is currently live, but all lots will sell the morning of Wednesday, October 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Time. Got cattle to sell? Regular online cattle auctions first and third Wednesday of every month, with hay sales every Wednesday on LivestockMarket.com and AuctionTime.com.
Do you want to put extra pounds on your calves before weaning, but you're being mindful of input costs? Hey, I'm Shay Warner, and I'm the host of the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. Dr. Mark Johnson and I had a great conversation about creep grazing and how it can be used to add extra pounds to calves before sale day without the inputs and labor associated with creep feeders. Here's a portion of what we discussed.
The thing I like about creep grazing is that I always look for simple solutions and not to try to overly complicate management. And creep grazing can be a pretty low cost venture. And just something as simple as permitting those calves to get to some grass or forage that the cows can't. And so I like to think of it that way, without a lot of additional management, without a lot of additional equipment or creep feeders that we have to buy. I think we can grow that forage a little more cost effectively, that we can go get a grain ration put together. And so I see it as one of those opportunities. If it is probably more likely to fit a management schedule and not have to be as intensively managed as opposed to a creep feeder.
Listen to the full story by searching for Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast player. Happy ranching, folks.
Now, before we say fare thee well, we want to give a big old tip of the hat to all of you that are out there making cow chow, chopping corn. Hope the silage pile is full. And now that's going to wrap it up for today. A big thanks from our crew to yours, starting out with Mike Bolinger with Superior Livestock, coming back on the show one more time, answering kind of some tough questions. Shay Warner with Casual Cattle Conversations. Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. Mark Vanzi with LivestockMarket.com. A big thank you goes out to our partners, RanchChannel.com. Check it out. Make sure it's one of your favorites, RanchChannel.com. Jorgensen Land and Cattle. Transova Genetics. Axiota Animal Health, bringing us Multi-Min and Lactopro. Stockman's Livestock Exchange. The American Gelbvieh Association. Imogene Ingredients, bringing us Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, the Tri-State Livestock News, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station and crew. So glad y'all came with us one more time as we ranch it up. Be sure to follow and like us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. You can call and you can text 24/7 at 707-RANCH-20. That's 707-726-2420. Spread the good word and join us again next week, where it's always Tigger and Beck approved. Stay ranchy and ranch it up.